Cool. Right. Okay. What's happening, guys? So we're back with another member interview. Now, I think this one for anyone watching is going to be a very, very valuable interview. Reason being is we've got Jack here. Jack is 19 years old, been in the space now for about 6-7 months, and has been able to do some serious numbers. Comes from, again, similar to me and a lot of guys inside Capital Closer, corporate sales background. But I think for anyone who's new to their corporate sales role, this will be a very interesting interview. I was obviously in my corporate sales role for a couple of years before transitioning. Jack was for a good sort of few months. So I think this would be very valuable for you guys that are 18, 19, 20, even 23, 25, just to get an understanding of really what that transition from corporate sales into remote high ticket closing looks like. So Jack, best place to probably start, if you can just do, obviously we already know your name, age, how long you've been inside Capital Closer, what you made last month in commissions, and what were you doing before coming on board. That'd be great.
Yeah, so I'm 19 years old. Last month I did 16,300 in commissions. I've been on board since November, so around 6-7 months. And before I was working in foreign exchange.
Crazy. 19. When is your 20th birthday? Because when you first told me you were 19, I was like, can we get a passport out? When are you 20?
Yeah, so it's in November.
It's in November, so it's not even around the corner. Mental. So this time last year, you were doing your A-levels.
Yeah, that's right.
Crazy. You're putting Finn stats to shame. Okay, cool. So from your side of things then, talk us through obviously getting into, you just obviously cleared 16,300 in comms. We'll get into how he did it, biggest challenges and all that sort of stuff. But take us back to, well, how it all sort of started. I mean, you finished your A-levels and you got into FX brokering, was it? Or what did you get into?
So I finished A-levels, jumped straight into FX brokering. And the turning point for me was actually on my birthday. So my 19th birthday, I come across one of your ads. I was on the train at 5 a.m. and I didn't see light for my whole birthday. And I was like, right, this is how the next 20 years of my life's going to be. So that's why I booked to call him. And then, I jumped straight in. But I think I'm proof that if you don't go all in, you're not going to see the results you want to see. Because I was umming and ahhing for a good 3-4 months. And then I messaged you, probably didn't hear from me for a little bit. And I was like, right, quitting the job, going all in.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, we'll run through like your sort of trajectory within Capital Closer, because I think that was... really interesting. I mean, to be totally honest with you, as much as, I sent you a lot of messages and was seeing where you were, it did come out of nowhere, your sort of growth. But it didn't come out of nowhere in the sense of that you were doing nothing, more in the lines of like, I wasn't really sure what was going on. And then all of a sudden, bang, it was like, okay, that's where you've been. But for you were in that FX brokering role for how long?
So from September till March, so about 6 months.
6 months. Interesting. So, the difference between obviously me and you in that regard is, yes, you had corporate sales experience. Yes, so did I. FX brokering, business development, tech sales, software sales. It's all the same thing. Working in office in London, doing sales, cold calling. It's all the same thing. But you were in it for 6 months. I was, for example, 2.5 years. How did you find the 6 months? Because in my opinion, obviously you'll get into it, it's normally like the honeymoon stage. It's like, I'm earning money, my mates are in uni, like I'm doing well. But I don't know, how did you find it?
I think at the start it was a bit of a buzz. So I used to work in Mayfair, so lovely.
Oh, really? Yeah. That would trick you. That
lovely part of London. But I felt for me, by it was November, December, I didn't have the holiday allowance because I haven't been there for a full year. So I spent my Christmas in the offices. Where it was just 2 or 3 of us, and everyone I mentioned saying it to you. Everyone was in Bali. Everyone was in Thailand. People in university, and September to November was great. I was making about $2,000. Working up in Mayfair, going for a drink in these nice places.
Yeah.
At that point where I was like, like what am I doing here? I had to be on at Christmas Eve, just me and the IT guy in the office, and I was doing cold ones on Christmas Eve, and I was just thinking like, oh, I can't keep doing this. And that's when it sort of switched between November to December. And because you have that honeymoon phase, but also, as anyone knows, working a corporate job in the winter, you don't see lightness.
No, you don't. You don't at all.
200 cold ones a day, it drains you. And so I was just like...
It does, yeah. And I do remember clearly, Jesus, I remember starting that role. But I think, when you, for example, I mean, is your dad does he do anything to do with sales or corporate job or
No,
anything?
he's corporate, but he's no sales.
Oh, he's corporate. Yeah, well, even so, if he's corporate, it's similar to mine in the fact of it's like you just think that's the given. It's like, well, this is pretty shit, but I'm being told this is the norm. So, I mean, do I have to just put up with this? Is this just how it works? And then you get on the train and you sort of, obviously, I think you're similar to myself in the fact that like all your mates sort of sometimes go uni or they crack on and you're like, I'm just here doing this. And you see the same faces on the train every day and you're like, well, you're 30, you're 40, you're 50. You're miserable on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah. You're a bit happier on Friday, and then you're miserable on Monday. And it's just over and over again. But for me, like, it took a little bit longer to get to that realization because I think I was like, just, do you know what I mean? Like, I just keep going. Didn't really know much about the online space. So why after even a few months? Because it took me 2 winters, too long of those winters to go, yeah, this is not it. Like, how did you know? How did you know this wasn't it? Especially at 19.
I think for me, it was a case of, obviously with social media, it's glamorized making money online. But when you take a deeper dive and you actually look into it, the possibilities are endless. I had a few mates who dabbled in FBA, a few did personal shopping. So I sort of had that proof of concept, but I knew that wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, well, I'm not bad on the phone. So I was like, if I could transfer this skill, and then I come across remote ticket sales, and I was like, it's a bit of a no-brainer. That's sort of what it was for me.
Why did you? So, did you try anything before? I know you said your mates were in FBN. Did you try any of that or not?
No, because I just didn't have that. I didn't have a gut feeling that it was for me. So I could have dabbled in an FBA trading. People at the office were trading because we was all in foreign exchange. But I just thought, sitting at a screen, not getting out speaking to people, and I just don't think the earning potentials are the same.
No.
I just don't think they're close.
Yeah, you got to play to your strengths. If you're like 6'8" and you want to be a professional sports star, probably makes sense for you to be a basketball player or a goalkeeper. Just play to your strengths. If you've got the skill of sales, use it, and it makes it a lot more simple. Okay, cool. So you're at that sort of stage. So talk me through finding out about remote high ticket closing. Do you remember when you first saw it? What were your thoughts? What were your feelings seeing it? Being a corporate sales guy as well.
So as I said, it was on my 19th birthday. So I've got the video somewhere on my phone. I was walking and I was just laughing, sending a video to the group chat that it's 5 a.m. I haven't seen lightness. And I sent another video at 9 p.m. and I've just got home and I was like, what have I done?
Yeah.
But on that train, up there and back, I come across your Instagram twice.
Wow.
And so I thought, right, I had a bit of a dive into it, watched a couple of the YouTube videos and I thought, it's a bit of a no-brainer. I was like, I'm watching people on a daily basis make money from everywhere. You see the places like the Marbella's, the Dubai's, and you're thinking, it would take me at least 5 years to save up and go to these places where I could work and I could, make a profit being in these places. So that's when I sort of had that realization to book the call in. And then from then, I think it was December hit, Christmas hit, and I was like, right, I know when I'm going to leave. Because I remember mapping out to you on our call, I said, right, I'm going to leave the job in March. I'll be buzzing with about $3,000 a month. And then we go in from there. So in some aspects, it's sort of gone the way I want, but just at a high level.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, because you stumbled across it, so you saw it. How long did it take you to, book a call, for example? Because I think that's an important thing. It always goes to show, like, I remember when I was getting into it, it was so quick. Everything happened quick because you just know. There's no like, do I do it? It's just like, boom, book a call, invest in your mentor, land an interview, like everything. Obviously, there's a lot of work that goes into that, but it's moving with speed. So how long did it take you?
To book a call in, I was going to say roughly, I know it was like probably like 6 days maybe.
Yeah.
Must have been waiting at the end of the week because I know we had our call on Sunday.
Yeah, we did.
My birthday was on a Monday or Tuesday, so I would have booked it in for that Sunday.
Oh, wow. What, before your birthday or after?
After my birthday.
After your birthday. Yeah, wow. So, yeah, you just turned 19. Mental. Okay, crazy. So, yeah, what happened? I remember you sort of coming on board. What were your first... You came on board in November, right?
Yeah.
So what were your first, talk me through, you came on board start November, talk me through November, December, your first 2 months learning high ticket closing. Obviously it's quite a different sales process. It's a different industry. It's new. It's not like, oh, I'm good at this, I'm going to be good at that. It's all new. So how did that look for you?
Well, we was on the 1.0, so we was all on school. So I remember I had my notebook out and I was blitzing through. And I was leaning on some of the guys who had been in here a little bit longer than me to listen to their calls. And then I joined the coaching calls as I'm driving back from the station every night.
Oh, yeah.
And then I just remember just locking in for an hour, hour and a half, and then just keep on going to build up sort of the objection handling side, the discovery, the chapters, and sort of trying to soak in as much as possible, so I could put in as much work, but not work myself to the ground because I had the 9 to 5 as well.
Yeah, because you were in 5 days a week, right?
I was in 5 days a week, and I had a long commute as well.
Yeah. So for anyone watching, like, when anyone sort of says to me, like, what's the easiest, how do I have the most leverage with getting into the industry? It's not who has the most sales experience, because it's a complete different sales industry. It is literally who has the most time. So if you work from home 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days per week, it is so easy to make this transition. Because rather than sort of doing what Jack had to do, which, again, prime example of you can do it regardless of your time schedule, where he's working 7 till 7, getting home, has to do coaching calls. Then once he lands an offer, have to take calls after work, 5 days a week. That's intense, but you can still do it. If you work from home 1 or 2 or 3 days, it's so easy. You can take like 2 or 3 during the day, then take 3 after. You're at home. It's simple. It's easy. It is easy. And I don't care if people go, oh, you can't say it's easy. It's easy. I promise you. How did you find that though? Because it's pretty intense, especially, you're obviously new to the role. It's fucking like dark. It's dark. And then you got to deal with this when you get home. A lot of people just go, oh, do you know what? I can't be bothered.
Yeah, and I think that sort of, caught up to me around that December, January period. Like, this is a lot, which is what pushed me to go, right, it's all or nothing. There's no better time for me to go all in. But, coming in, when I started my sales job at corporate, it was a buzz, yeah, but coming into this was another level of buzz.
Yeah.
Because you join the coaching calls and you listen to, people higher up who are making money have like, objection handling, or they do mock calls, and you'd think like, do you know what, this is a bit of me. And by the end, they're making the 500, 600, 700 pound. And you're like, I can see it now.
Yeah.
And so that's what sort of motivated me to be like, right, I'm going to still put in an hour a night.
Yeah.
Go from there.
Yeah, that's such an important thing that you mentioned there. I think that's what I say inside Capital Closure as well. Like, all of us are so similar. And I don't think a lot of other sort of businesses can say that. I look around and I'm like, you're not really similar. Like, we're all very similar. And like the things that we do, how we're all very, and it's done, and mindset and everything, it's done in a specific, that's why it's how it is. And I think it's good because when you've got guys that are anywhere from, well, Finn being 17, you've got you as well, you've got a few other guys that are a bit younger, guys 28, 30, 35 years old who are all from the UK predominantly, all with either existing sales experience 90% of the time, and we're all in that similar environment. You're just constantly seeing like, well, he's making 8K, 10, 12, 15, 20, 25, 30K. And it's like, they're no different to me. And I think when you're around it, when you're not around it and you just see things online, you're like, oh, maybe it's real, maybe it's not. When you're inside, you're like, there is no denying that this doesn't work now. So every month that goes by, I'm not making money, I'm now losing it because they are making money and they're no different to me.
Exactly.
But talk me through from a specific standpoint. I know there was a drop off and we'll get into that now. Obviously you were buzzing, you were going all in, and then all of a sudden I was like, what's going on? Like, is he still involved? Is he still active?
Yeah.
How long did it take you to land the role? When was your first role? Was that side of the year or the other year, 2025?
No, so it would have been around 2025. I landed a setting role for an FBA business.
Yeah.
Because I remember I couldn't commit to the calls because I'd get home so late. So I would be blitzing, phone dialing or DM setting. And yeah, that took me in and around January time. And I did make that change from then. I think I made about 1K British, so about 1.5 USD. And then after that, I made probably about a little bit more. And then I made a max of 2K British.
From the DM setting role?
From the DM setting role, yeah. I made a max of that. And that's what sort of gave me a drive to hand my notice in.
Was that, so you made, what, 1.5 and 2K US?
Yeah, 1.5 to 2.5 US on the phone setting.
On the side of your brokering role?
On the side, on the train, just pinging out messages, booking them in. And I remember I got 50 quid per appointment booked.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
I didn't even need to wait for them to close. So I thought, right, if we can do this as efficient as possible, put good leads in, I'm just going to keep them getting paid.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I remember there was a day where you made a certain amount. I think you said it was like 450 quid or something.
yeah, from like it was like 8 or 9 bookings or something.
Yeah, 8 or 9 bookings, and it was just like, yeah, it was crazy. And then you started building momentum then, and you were in a second role. And then I remember we did a coaching call once, and then you said to me, "Oh, can I speak to you after?" And I
Yeah.
said, "Yeah." And I was like, "You went, yeah. I apologise for. I mean, you share your take on it. It's probably better for coming from you."
Yeah, because we had a coaching call and I said, we've got 5 minutes at the end. And I just remember, I just said to you, I was like, look, I apologise, I've not been active, I've been caught up in the job. I'm going to leave on the final payday of February, so March the 1st, and then we're going all in from there.
Yeah, yeah. And how much you'd made total? What, like 4.5, 5K, like total earnings?
US like 4.5, 5K, give or take.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so came on board November. Jan made like 1K on the side doing the DM setting role. Feb made 1.5K on the side. March made 2K on the side.
Yeah,
Cool, got you. Okay, cool. Then you handed your notice in.
yeah.
What was that like? What was that? I never got to hand mine in. It happened a different way. But how did that feel?
It was a mixed eggs, right? So I had my big boss, my two big bosses, they were like, fair play. Because if I was in your shoes, I would have done that. And then we had a few other people in and around the office was like, look, you know what you're doing is like, it's not even real.
I hope
Like,
they're watching this. I hope you're watching this. By the way.
so do I. And they was like, there's a bit weird, like, there's no way you're doing this. There's no way you're giving up this job. This is like a dream job. And so I had a mixed bunch. But yeah, I left and that train was, the train back, I was buzzing.
Mate, I know, yeah. I remember that so clearly. Just going back and thinking, I am never, ever, ever doing this again. I'm not seeing you, I'm not seeing you, I'm not dealing with the train being cancelled, I'm not dealing with stupid train guard, these people sweating like a little rat race. I'm never dealing with it again. Never, never. Even when I got to London to this day, I get PTSD of it all. You know,
Yeah.
it is a good feeling. It's a freeing feeling. What was it like your sort of first day, like just not being employed? Well, you are, but waking up and going, yeah, I don't need to
I
go home for
think
that.
the first day also linked to when 2.0 came out.
Yeah, yeah. 2.0 was launched like middle of Feb. Yeah,
Yeah, so it would have been around about that time. So I just blitzed 2.0. I was
yeah,
going through it, and then I went away and took a trip for a couple of days. And when I come back, I was outreaching, got on every sales agency, every sales platform you can imagine. I think I had about 9 interviews in 4 days.
yeah. I remember
Started
that.
building my momentum, and then I landed my current offer, which I started on the 1st of April. So that whole March for me was like, right, I'm going to get as many interviews, build my network as much as possible, build up my book in terms of phone numbers, because I used to scrape people's phone numbers. I used to use my Lusher, go on their LinkedIn, still get the numbers, and I would cold call until I landed the one I've got today.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that offer that you landed, we'll get into that one now. So, also as well, when you look at like your bosses from that side of things as well, when you look at sort of like how much they're sort of realistically making take home after tax. I mean, how old were they?
So you got the big bosses, and then you got the seniors, right? The seniors were probably doing around 15 to 20K.
Take home after tax.
Yeah, but they've been doing it about 10, 15 years.
How old are they? 35, 40?
35 to 40s, yeah, in around that
And then
range.
on top of that, as we know, you've
More
got
national insurance.
mortgage, car payments, kids. So what are you probably keeping? 6K, And that's the thing. It's like 15 to 20K at 35, 40 is not the same at 15, 20K in your 20s or early teens. It is not. You have
Exactly.
literally no expenses. In my opinion, like 10K is the equivalent to like almost 40K in there because you've got so much expenses and it's not as fun.
Yeah.
It's not. You can't travel and do this thing and have this lifestyle and have this fun, which we'll get into what you're doing obviously, after this call anyway, and have just got back from one. So that YouTube offer, we won't get into it, but you landed a YouTube offer.
Yeah.
Sexy offer. Well, it was a bit, we didn't know whether it was a hit or miss. We were like, this is a solid one. You started that in April. Am I right?
Yeah.
April. Talk us through. You came on board in November. We've gone through earnings and whatnot, and you left your broken role. April, what happened? Talk us through it.
So we finished April in and around 6.5K US. I had a 71% close rate. I was getting around 2, 3 calls a day because the volume wasn't picking up.
Yeah.
But I remember just grinding it out. And just attacking every call like it might be the last one, because some days you'd have one call, some days you'd have two. So I thought I need to maintain the highest close rate possible, which I
Yeah.
managed to do.
And then, so 6.5k US, that is, I mean, almost triple, but yeah,
Yeah.
almost triple what you were making. How did it feel making that money, being fully online as well?
Proof of concept,
Yeah?
mental. It's a proof of concept that this does work, and also there's so much more you can do with it as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the
So
beginning, you
for
know?
me, it's a case of I've just dipped my toe in the pond, and I dipped my toe in the pond with essentially a month in a closing role, and I've tripled what I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So the
yeah,
way,
because I mean, a lot of people talk about earnings. Like, I see it online all the time. They're like, oh, someone made 10, 15, 20k in 3 months. And the way that I talk about people's duration is like from when they started
yeah,
with capital close, like knowing nothing. I don't talk about, like, I could say, we could say Jack made fucking 17,000 in 2 months. But it's like, no, well, we say it when he knew nothing to when he started, from when
yeah.
he but if we want to talk like that, well, he did 16.5k in 2 months. So we can talk like that if you want. But so that was your 6.5k. What happened the next month, which was May last month?
Next month we maintained the close rate around 67%, but we was doing all right. You know, we was getting payment plans, we was doing split pays. But I had one call that was a turning point on the 8th of the month, and that was Frank. I put that in, going into it thinking I'm gassed because I'm gonna get 3k off him, or 2k off him. And I remember putting it on and getting ripped to shreds. Had my notebook, which I got the notes next to me, everything, every single thing down. And then from then I had a follow up with him, and you said to me, don't let him speak. And I grilled him, and I put 2.0 on him to a point where I think he paid about 4k. And then from then, I had eight 6k piffs, well 7k US piffs in a row, back to back to back days.
Which is what, seven? No, you're on more than that. You're
I'm on 12.5% comms, so I was getting around $850 per call.
per 45-hour long sales call you were closing.
Half an hour, 45.
Yeah, mad. Yeah, because I remember that call review. We did it on a coaching call, and like obviously, we sort of broke down what could have been done a lot better, and a lot more could have been done. And I sort of felt that with your current calls, the way you're going, yeah, you're closing people, but you're getting them on payment plans. You need to be challenging them more. You
Yeah.
need to be identity selling them more, sticking it on them more. Not working with them, but if they're not saying something that's congruent to us making a sale, challenging it and not moving on until we've got that. And
Yeah.
obviously just mastering the new 150k a month sales process that we have. But yeah, I remember sort of, your reaction to the back of that was mad. So what did you finish on then in May, comms?
16,300, and I knew 20k could have been done because my total order value was like 174k. So that first week for me, if I would have implemented what Frank taught me a week before,
Yeah.
we would have cleared 20k without a doubt.
So yeah, you've gone from 2k, 2k in November at that brokering role to now 16.3k.
Yeah.
This. What would you have said to someone? Well, apart from the obvious, because I'm sure you're probably very similar to me. Like, I knew it was going to happen. Do you know what I mean? I know you'd think like that as well. But there's also a small part of you that is a bit like, which is maybe a smaller percent. If someone went, by the way, Jack, just so you know, you're in this winter miserable sort of London broken role in November, and that you're looking at these fucking miserable people. By the way, just so you know, next summer you're going to make 16,300 in commit, and you can do what you want.
Yeah. I think, again, it comes down to I knew it was going to happen because I wrote down in my notes what exactly I was going to do. I was going to leave my job, I was going to do this, and by the end of the summer, I was going to hit 10k. But if you'd have told me I would have done it so quick, I would have said, you can pinch me a bit, because it felt like it happened overnight, making 6 to making 16k. It happened very quick,
Yeah.
to the point where, it doesn't feel real that now I'm pushing more and more numbers from this.
Yeah. And as well, like, it just goes to show as well, like, even this month, like, you just got back. You were in Bodrum for how long?
I was in Bodrum for a week.
You were in Bodrum for a week. You went away. You've been away quite a few times this year, haven't you?
Yeah.
Went away to Bodrum. Were you in Paris? Was it Paris or Marrakesh? Was it?
I was in Paris before. Yeah.
Paris before. And then, so you got back from Bodrum. So you were away the start pretty much, the start of June, and then you're going to Barcelona for a week after this call as well. But somehow, even though you've had 2 weeks off, what are you on for this month? And it's the 12th.
I'm on 4.8k
US, and you've only been working 3 days.
Yeah, give or take 3 or 4 days. I done what you said, and I chased up a lot of payment plans, and I made sure they paid more instalments at once to build my cash collected. But yeah, the last 4 days, I had I think I made about $3,000 maybe.
So the fact that you're taking like 2 weeks off in a month and you're sort of still pacing 10k minimum is crazy. How do you sort of now feel? Obviously the money's great, but more from being at that point where you're sort of making them. What's the biggest thing for you that you sort of enjoy the most or sort of appreciate the most from remote high ticket closing and now making that full transition?
It's definitely the freedom, I think, and I'm sure you agree with where you was before. I'm not satisfied yet with the money. Because I want to get to a certain level to open up certain doors. But for me, it's the fact that I can wake up at 8, I can go to the gym, I can go to the sauna, I can come back, start my calls at 10, and then I can, go and do different things. I can relax a bit more. I haven't got to stress about making the train, running for the train. And the little things for me, it takes and alleviates all this stress off me. And it's all coming down to the freedom or flexibility I have.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. 16.3k this last month gone. Obviously, we've got plans in putting a lot of things in place over the next sort of couple of months and whatnot. What are we, we're in June now. What are we looking at? June, July, August, September, all the way, take us to obviously the end of this year, 2025, realistically, where are we looking to get overall with everything? Commissions, what you want to do, all of that stuff.
I think for me, I want to be in a position where first or second place within the leaderboard is just mandatory. You know how you see Lewis now, you're thinking, right, he's pulling in mandatory numbers. I want to be in that conversation. I think I want to keep on travelling. I've got a couple of plans, a couple of places to go. And I want to do a bit more work in these places as well. Because there's no better buzz you have than taking a call, closing it, and making that money from your laptop in places like Bodrum, in places like Marrakesh, Paris. That's what I want to be doing. Those are my goals.
Yeah, 100%. Those are so important. I think I did it a lot, but I didn't in the first year. But in the second year, it made me realise how important it is, because you'd always think, I can't get distracted, but it's not distraction. You perform better in these environments. You're more happy. You're more buzzing. The energy you have on calls. You've got sun in your face. You've got light. That's why it's such an important thing. So numbers wise, what are we hopefully looking at for you by the end of the year?
End of the year, 25-30k.
25-30k. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that you're 110% going to hit it. Yeah. Just lastly, what would you recommend to anyone who's 19, 23, 25, 28, 30, working a brokering, SDR, recruitment, tech sales, software sales, car sales role there? Seen remote high ticket closing. They're not sure of it. They're making $3,000 to $6,000 in that sales job, and they're umming and ahhing. What would you say to them?
I think it's a no-brainer, because I've come in as someone with 6 months experience. So people who are 19 and 20, you guys can resonate to me, because there's so much more to give and you don't want to put your life away so early. And the guy's a bit older than me. If I can do it with 6 months experience, then again, it's a no-brainer. Honestly, it comes down to how much you want it. If you've got that grit, if you've got that determination, and you have a vision and you drive it, that's all it takes.
Couldn't agree more, bro. Couldn't agree more. Absolutely spot on. And just lastly as well, you're off to Barcelona now after this call, right? For a week?
I'm going to Barcelona in an hour and a half.
What is it? The event you said you're going to?
Off Sona.
Yeah, be decent. And this is the thing as well, like, you make all of this money, get to 10, 15, 20, 25, 30,000 a month. That's what I'm a big believer in that. Work hard, be the top performer, beat everyone, be obsessed. Yeah. Sports star mentality, Cristiano Ronaldo, Michael Jordan, Conor McGregor, all these people, but have fucking fun whilst you do it. That is literally have fucking fun. You see all of these people online, they're just weird. They don't have fun. So yeah, we'll see how you get on, but appreciate it, bro. And from that sort of things, anyone who's looking to come on board, I mean, you're literally a prime example of the people that we want to work with. And we'll check in once you're back at 20, 25,000, 30,000 by the end of the month. So appreciate it. Thanks, bro.
100%.
Okay.